All right, moving on now to Hayden, who we haven't seen a lot of, if at all, in our scene, which is great for a new face. But Alex, you're the Chaos player. Why don't you give us a go through his list?
Hayden, welcome. Another Chaos player joins the scene. Don't believe what they say about us. So, the Demon Prince, he's back and he's juicy and he's worth a lot of points. Fly 9, Mark of Tzeentch, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Crimson Armor of Dargan. That's the immune to multi-wound weapons, which is excellent because he's only got 4 wounds.
Mm.
Anyway, on that thing, Favor of the Gods, Burning Blade, uh, which is an interesting choice, Hayden, because I think you get flaming attacks from Zeech anyway. I'm pretty sure you do. So maybe you can get a recall of Michael for that. I don't know. But this is backed up by his core units 5, Chaos Knights, Mark and Nurgle War Banner. This is probably one of his scoring. Another unit of Knights with the Icon of Darkness, which is the -1 from shooting on there. A few units of Chaos Warhounds. He's gone for the armor on them, which is what you don't really see all the time on the Warhounds. Units of 7. I have run units of 7 Warhounds before as well. They're good because a couple of shots means that if you flee from panic, they fall back in good order rather than flee,
Mm.
because you might only lose 2, for example, which is excellent. 15 Chaos Warriors. Apologies, Hayden. With Mark of Corn, which is interesting, and the Razor Standard, additional hand weapons. This is an output unit, right? And I think Rob from Squarebase is renowned for playing his Chaos this way, which is additional hand weapons, lots of attacks, and getting extra AP from the Razor Standard. 2 units of 3 Dragon Ogres and a Gore Beast Chariot. So the Demon Prince is definitely a magic missile aiming character, so he doesn't have Lore Familiar on there, so he's not going to be able to choose Fireball and Pillar, but he's definitely going to be getting Blue Fire from his Mark of Tzeentch, plus the Ruby Ring. So if he plays the Demon Prince, uh, by just jumping around and blasting things with magic, and hopefully he rolls up Pillar or Fireball on there. And the Demon Prince is good in combat too, right? Like he can go into smaller units as well. So I'm glad he's here. It's definitely one of the more flavorful chaos lists I think we've ever seen, especially way
Mm.
more flavorful than I've ever run. On there, multiple marks of chaos exist in the list. Lots of knights, Nurgle, and Khorne and Tzeentch, which is awesome.
Yeah, great to see a more traditional, call it that, chaos list. This does feel a lot like seventh and eighth ed lists, significantly more than a lot of the stuff we've seen recently. I will just jump on that Gorbis chariot. My goodness, it's good to see Gorbis chariots
Hell
back.
yeah,
The
man.
only the only thing I will maybe stick my actually hat on for is that Mark of Slanesh, because I'm pretty sure historically Gorbis chariots were always Mark of Corn, but then I can't really remember. So it's been so long since I've seen one. But thank you for bringing a Gorbis chariot, because I so look forward. It gives it swift stride. It's going to be like those
Uh,
things are maybe the most powerful. Doesn't give them Swiss stride.
Doesn't give us a strike. Gives him immune to
Oh,
psychology and +1 initiative, which is I think
Uh,
he's actually done the Slanesh immune to psych because you do not want that thing fleeing from like
no,
some
no, you
some
don't.
some offhand panic test
No,
nearby.
all the same. It's good to see it.
I love a Gold Beast Chariot. If I ever get to my third army, it might be Chaos, and that might be my favorite piece in the whole roster. I think it's so meme worthy, but just imagine the fun you can have if you ever get to charge with anything.
If it charges,
Yeah.
it's hitting pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake, who is another new player, I think, unless he was in the first one, he definitely wasn't at the last
No,
Oldhammer and wasn't at the
I
two
don't think
class
we've
warm
seen
up.
it before.
So
No.
great to see another face and great to see Empire, which is one of a few in this list, which we'll get to. He has a general on an Imperial Griffin with the Armor of Fortune. Forget what that does. Quick pop quiz. What
Um,
does it do?
Yeah, so it's a bit of an odd choice, and I'm not sure if he realizes. Armor of Fortune makes you immune to Killing Blow, but you're not subject to Killing Blow being on the Imperial Griffin. You're subject to Monster Slaying Blow, and Armor of Fortune doesn't protect you against that. So I'd encourage you, if you see the video, get in touch with Michael, and he might let you change that. That's like a 40-point suit of armor, and it does nothing for the Griffin.
Yeah,
So
I feel like he was posting in the Australian Discord, and a few people were giving that feedback to him. Okay. Perhaps he's just posted the wrong list to Michael, maybe. But keep going.
Yeah. Master Mage, level 2 on a warhorse, running battle magic. 10 state missile troops with handguns, 20 veteran state troops, full command, 10 missile troops, handguns, 10 state troops with thrusting spears, 6 demi-griff knights, full banner. Full command with the Griffin standard, which is your double rank bonus. So he gets 2 for that second rank, which I presume is running it in. And then a steam tank and 10 Empire Greatswords. So this, I mean, if this guy puts this list down on the table and you are not in a good mood for Warhammer, then something's wrong with you, and nothing is wrong with Jake, even though he took the Armor of Fortune. That is for sure, because this is what people picture Warhammer to be. I think
this is straight out of the book, out of the pictures Warhammer, and it's. I think Jake should be very proud of himself for bringing this, because quite frankly, I don't think anyone else is brave enough to. I love the 6 Demigriff Knights. It's such a statement to have those. They're so strong, since I've learned that they're strength 5 instead of strength 4. This is hands down the most Empire list that I think I've nearly ever seen. I think there's one more Empire list which rivals it, but this is pretty close.
I think in that Discord, Alex, as well, someone was like, man, I don't think you should run 6 Demigriffs. He was like, no, fuck you, I'm running them.
Now, I need to ask a serious question before we go. Is Pigeon Bombs included, or has he added it to the steam tank?
He's paid, and he's paid for the repeated pistol.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
But
10 out of 10.
So the other thing to realize is that the engineer can shoot at different targets to the steam tank. So they're not totally worthless upgrades. They're actually quite interesting little choices, given the steam tank can often be quite slow. So if he's planning on shooting with the cannon, he gets the Pigeon Bobs. They're a 24-inch random chance of putting a small blast template on something. And the repeater pistol, for standard shoot and everything else. I don't hate it. It's just
I love it.
It's so Empire. Is
it one use only, or is it like a refilling? He's got a pigeon coop on the back.
I hope, given the pluralization of this word, you get more than one.
You can do it rather than shooting. The guy can select to release a pigeon.
Yeah, mate. Jake's top of the pile for me. Welcome to Oldhammer. This is Warhammer. John, Alasdair, do you want to run us through this? We know John.
I played this on Saturday night myself, actually, much to John's chagrin.
Shout out to John as well, by the way. He won the first Oldhammer, and then he came second in the 2+ warm-up 2 weeks ago.
He with a list very similar to this one.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think he's a strong contender. I've already, we've had a talk about it. He won the first one. I won the second one. I can't be there for the third, so he can have it. No, he's got a Dark Elf Master as the general with everyone's favorite pendant, the adaptable ward save, and that's mounted on a Cold One chariot. I'd warn anyone who thinks that Cold One chariot is a pushover to think twice. It is a massive tank, and he's going to churn through you 1 wound at a time if you decide to go in through it. I sent a unit of Demigriffs at it and did absolutely nothing. The Death Hag, the machine gun Death Hag, I suppose you call her, she's there to get into combat with you. She'll do anywhere from 5 to 7 attacks, re-rolling to hit at weapon skill 6, at strength 6, with the Ogre Blade. She's there to kill stuff and make it look good. She's going to sit in a unit of Witch Elves, big unit of Witch Elves. They're not tanky, but they've got the Banner of Haganeth for an extra AP. So while I should point out, while the Death Hag's in there, she's actually strength 6, AP 3 with Armor Bane 1. So, touch that unit at your peril. The Supreme Sorceress there to provide magic defense and bounce around, throw some pillars out, throw some Arcane Urgency on the Witch Elves as she needs to. Backed up with Cold One Knights for zoning. Everyone understands how bad you can suffer if you get charged by Cold One Knights, so no one wants to go anywhere near them. Dark Elf Shades to add his own little efforts towards elven evasiveness and baiting you into throwing a magic missile at it and then dancing out of your range before he can. A Charybdis, his favorite monster out of the Dark Elf book, and quite frankly, I can't really argue whether it's so cool outside of the Black Dragon. And then 2 Bolt Throwers, which will do work if you leave them alone. So I'd expect to see those Bolt Throwers put somewhere to provide temptation while he sets up to hammer you sort of all at once with those Witch Elves and the Dark Elf Master sort of together with the Cold Ones. It's a tough list. Even with Elven Toughness 3 and low armor for most things, it's still a pretty tough list. And be wary of underestimating this because, again, you touch that Witch Elf list, that Witch Elf unit with realistically anything that's not going to kill 20 Witch Elves in a go, and you're mincemeat. You're done.
There's so many threats.
The Ogre Blade. The Ogre Blade in this is crazy. I mean, it's like the Witch Elves are like, they look trash. Yeah, charge me. Come on. Yeah.
She doesn't need to save because she's always strikes first.
Yeah.
She's going to kill virtually anything before it even gets the opportunity to go back with those 7 attacks at weapon skill 6 reroll into hit. So yeah,
we know what John's up to. I think the thing is, and you know, we jest, but John is the second top Dark Elf player in the country. He's also been able to hone the Witch Elves now. I feel like he had last Oldhammer, the 2+ warm-up, probably 10 games or something in between then against many opponents. So it's not like most of us who've thrown a list together and go, yeah, I've had maybe 1 or 2 practice games. He's had a lot of practice with these units and this list. So, John, we know what you're up to. We know you're listening, and we're on to you.
Love John. I love that list a lot. There's so many threats. It's hard to get out of the way of all of them. But Josh, this one might be the other counter for favorite Empire player, or the all Empire players think they're the favorite Empire player. I think he has. Oh, Alex, you want to run through this one, or?
I think I'll give it to Alasdair as he's the
Alasdair,
Empire.
Yeah, you're the Empire dude. Sure. Go it again.
Empire is my flavor of the month at the moment. This I think it was your brother Alex who said this is Warhammer just based off the general. So
general on Warhorse.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
An Empire general on a horse. What's more Warhammer than an Empire general on a horse?
Hopefully with a white grey beard.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, but he's there to, like, the laurels of victory are, 2 points of combat res for every wound that he causes. He's a general of the Empire with 3 attacks. They don't do a huge amount. So, I mean, I think the laurels are also there slightly for flavor on top of everything else. But the quintessential Warhammer general, a master mage for magic defense with the wizard staff for extra magic missile attacks, a lore familiar to be choosing that specific fireball pillar combo. So he's basically casting as a level 3 for those 2 spells. Captain of the Empire BSB, on foot with a giant blade to sit with the big unit of great swords that we'll see a little bit later on. But veteran state troops, Empire Knights, state military troops, he's got it all. It's all in there as core. 2 big units of infantry, 2 units of missile troops, 1 unit of knights, and then he's got the Empire greatswords to top it all off. Banner of duty on them. I mean, I wish greatswords were better. Tutelage and guard out of the new Arcane Journal are what I think greatswords should have been. But that's also the case with Road Wardens and Pistoliers. But I mean, he's game to give the greatswords a go. The BSB will be sitting in with them for combat res.
What does the Banner of Duty do?
I cannot remember what the Banner of Duty does for the life of me. But
sneaky with the great swords, though. They aren't great, I know, but they have stubborn built in, don't they?
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
So they're not a complete waste of time.
Veteran that he's added on there and stubborn built in. Like it's a big anvil unit for you to throw something at, and it will probably stay. And the idea is obviously that you try and get in around. But in this world of now, we're starting to see these big toughness for really hard blocks of
Yeah.
infantry. Great swords just are not quite the same level as a lot of things, even with the 4+ full plate save. And then unit of demigriffs on there. A unit of 4 is always really strong. And a Hellblaster volley gun, which I again still think is a very brave choice. Having played Hellblasters in maybe 6 or 7 games myself, they fired probably 4 times in 7 games that
Yeah.
have all gone to turn 6.
They're so
So
matchup dependent. I found Hellblasters, you need
yes,
to be playing Warriors of Chaos or like Bretonia or someone that absolutely has to get into your
come to
shooting
Come in.
range.
yeah,
The
yeah,
24-inch range is a massive killer for them. But I
yeah.
am speaking from experience against Michael Bastow, legend of the pod. He, over 2 rounds of shooting, rolled 54 shots against my Chaos Warriors, and they just continuously fled off the board. So when they work, they're freaking great. But
They are.
I agree, they have their shortfall. But Empire so far, great flavor and
Banner
a
of
good
Banner of Duty's reroll rally
rally
test.
test. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So definitely there to be the anvil.
So Keith, Creaky Gamers, he has been to all Oldhammers, I believe, and he came to the two
Yes. Yep.
plus warm up, and he was running Wolves of the Sea briefly, but he's gone back to his Tomb Kings here, and he has one of the big bads around here.
Mm.
So the Bone Dragon, one of the dragons that fits pretty comfortably into this Throne of Skulls comp, making a very tough thing in this format. He has a High Priest in there with the Lore Familiar, Serpent Staff, running Illusion, and a Mortuary Priest on foot, the Amulet of the Serpent, running Elementalism, 4 Necro Serpents, 30 Skeleton Archers, 2 Tomb Swarms, 6 Ushabti with Great Bows, a Tomb Scorpion, a Necrosphinx, another Tomb Scorpion, and another Necrosphinx. So this is full on, man.
Oh yeah.
This is it's not fully geared. Like you can still go harder than this, but at 1750 points, dealing with a Bone Dragon, 2 Necrosphinxes, 2 Scorpions, 6 bloody Great Bow Ushabtis. The rest is still fine as well. Like there's not a lot of weakness in here. I am yet to play Tomb Kings, and I'm kind of grateful for that at the moment because I think that at least at this level, probably one of the stronger factions in the game. And this list is a great example of that. I think it's going to be hard to deal with.
It's going to be super fun. I love that he's leaned into the construct theme. Like this is
Yeah.
Mortuary Cults done properly. And the Bone Dragon, I admire him for taking it. I still feel like it's such an enormous risk given that it's dry as dust, and it's this environment of flaming attacks, magic missiles. It's not as strong as some of the others. It's also pretty mid-range for a dragon, I think, based on its stat profile. I'm not sure whether it gets all the way to toughness 6. I can't remember, but there are other dragons that are certainly a lot bigger and bulkier than the Bone Dragon. But at the same time, again, I mean, Keith has always been really great with putting sort of non-conventional lists together. I think again he was running that Wolves of the Sea sort of variation at the warm up. Just so again, this feels like it's a really nice balance between the flavor of what you really want to see from Mortuary Cults and then being able to potentially do an enormous amount of damage with those constructs. So yeah.
I don't want to face it.
Please no. Choke in the first round, please. So maybe I don't have to. Moving on to another possibly new face, but I'm new to this group. So Lachlan Coker running Tomb Kings. Alex, I think it might be your
Yeah,
turn.
so it's good that we got the two Tomb King players in a row. So not Mortuary Cults in this flavor, however, still bringing the Bone Dragon. Double Prince is very interesting, especially because one's on foot.
Ah,
Normally we see them in the light chariot, which can still sit within the infantry blocks, which is an interesting ruling by GW, but we won't pause on that one for too long. and the second one obviously within a chariot as well. So this is pretty flavorful, right? Like again, if we want to talk about the Empire list being
Mm.
flavorful, when we come down it, we've got the Bone Dragon, we've got the Skeleton Chariots, which is quintessential Tomb Kings. We've
Mm.
got a unit of Tomb Guard, we've got the Skeleton Warriors, and we've got a Necrosphinx.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's not like Keith and God love you, Keith, where you've kind of min-max the big bads into the list. Um, Lachlan's come here and has said, I'm going to try out Tomb Kings in a different way and bring fast moving chariots on the flanks, probably a battle line with a Tomb Guard in there as well, with a Tomb Prince obviously probably sitting within the Tomb Guard, I would suspect.
For
Yeah, I
sure.
agree. It
Acrobatic
is.
jar. Can anyone tell
Yeah.
me what acrobatic jar does?
I
I
can find
will.
out.
Yeah, I'll quickly have a look. It's probably one of the dozens of broken items for.
Because I think nearly every unit
He,
Yeah,
champion
you're
has one.
right.
yeah, he can arise twice.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Sure.
right. So, yeah, far out, man. Tomb
Yeah.
Kings
That's
just
that's
they
very
look
strong.
so annoying. Yeah, my time will come, and I think it might be this time round.
Yeah.
And you'll hear me complain all about it. I might take this one if that's all right,
Yep.
because it's another Wood Elf list. And I spoke to Mark ahead after his time at Moab, where I think he came fifth or sixth, but ran a very similar list to this, which is it's not your quintessential Wood Elf list again, which is great for the Wood Elves because they often cop a lot of flack, which you might see because of a list later on in this rundown. But he has a Shadow Dancer level 1 illusion, which is one of my favorite things in the entire army book, even if it is inefficient. But aiming to, I presume, roll for Spectral Drop, Double Ganger, and have a roll at it. Otherwise, you just take Glittering Robe for the -1 to hit. Spellweaver on foot, which you almost never see. And Mark, when I asked him about that, said he never has any issue keeping them out of trouble. He doesn't have the Oaken Stave here, which is an issue, I think. I didn't have one in our warm-up event, and I felt it massively. Wood Elves kind of need that magic defense, but he seems to be fine with it. He has Lore Familiar and a Ruby Ring, so you're thinking double Fireball Pillar flying out everywhere there. 2 units of 10 Glade Guard with Hagbane tips, 2 units of 5 Glade Riders with Hagbane tips, and then 5 Deepwood Scouts with Arcane Bodkins, 7 Dry. I actually really like this element too. I would put, if possible, a Nymph in there. It's a fun little roadblock, stubborn skirmishing roadblock. Movement 5 can get in the way pretty easily at pretty cost-effective points. Toughness 4, 2 6-up saves.
Mm.
1 unit of Sisters of the Thorn, 2 units of 6 Wild Riders with full command, 7 War Dancers, and 3 Treekin. So one of the things I always talk to brother Alex about the Is This Warhammer score is one of everything, or at least a varied list. And
Yeah.
that, to me, is what really makes you more immersed in the game. And this is the kind of list that does it. Sure, there's some double ups, but you have to take Glade Guard. And they're the Wood Elf thing. But this has a lot of everything. 1 unit of Sisters, so no one can get salty. 2 units of Wild Riders that can be glass cannons, but I think everyone almost accepts getting wrecked by them when it happens because they have like, there's like a unanimous love for this unit, I think, because you can blow them off the table if they don't get there, but if they do, it's kind of your fault for getting caught by them because they just wreck face, in my experience.
Paddy,
Um,
the spell weaver, I feel like if we had Mark on the pod right now, he'd be saying the exact same thing I was, which is this is Throne of Skulls. I've
mm,
got a level 3. I'm going to trade some defensive for guaranteed offensive.
yeah,
Mm.
In the
Mm.
which is
Lore
a fair
Familiar,
point.
yeah, yeah,
I
because 3 or
just
6, my gosh, if you don't roll Fireball or that, which is probably going to happen in 1 of 3 games, he's going
Yeah.
to feel it. So I agree. He's gone to Lore Familiar.
The issue I faced, having just ran a Wood Elf list that wasn't full Sisters, a little bit more mixed arms, although had a dragon in it. What I found, and I've said this for months, is toughness 3, no armor. If you can't stop ruby rings
Mm.
and fireballs coming away, it's just hell, man.
Yeah.
I played against Peter, who's in this running Lizard Men, he'll have 3 fireballs. If you're not in range, those bound spell 3s on Burning Alignment for these shorter range fireball, it's difficult for me to get out of that way. But Mark's a great player. He's also a highly ranked Wood Elf player in Australia. Shout out Old World Fans rankings, sorry, Old World Fanatics rankings site. If you're not aware, go check it out. Mark's in there.
Alistair, quick question. How many of these units from Wood Elves in your experience have evasive versus things like fireballs? I think
Not
there was
as
a
many.
video about
I
that.
think it's only scouts, isn't it?
It's only to Deepwood Scouts. Shout out
Yeah.
Okay,
to
I
Plus
withdraw.
Podcast.
I withdraw my jest. Then.
I mean,
It's
the
only these
the
guys.
the other for everyone there out in internet land, the other point of contention that we had with units with evasive within Wood Elves is, of course, that combat character that can sit on the dragon and give the dragon evasive. That's always super fun. But anyway,
Heaps.
do go on.
All right, let's keep going.
Do
Keep
go on.
going through it. Everyone's favorite thing, followed by everyone's favorite person, Michael Bastow. Alex, you gave the shout out to the 3-foot stunty toughness 10 on this list, so maybe you handle this list again.
Michael's like Neo in the
Yeah.
Matrix, right? Like he just nobody knows actually what he's gonna bring, and he does well, right?
Yeah.
With the funky list. So, a standard engineer to sit there and babysit the organ gun, which we'll see later on down the list. The king is what I was referring to here. With a great weapon, full plate armor, shield, an oath stone. Interesting, no shield bearers. So he has to. The challenge that he issues must be accepted. The Master Rune of Adamant. So he's toughness 10. He is the toughest thing at the event. The Strength 8 Tyrant is still winning on 6s. Rune of Fury for +1 attack. So Michael's hope is that the Chris's Tyrant charges him and he just locks it down. And then beats him with Hammer Combat Res, which as we come down the list. So Longbeards in core, they're great. I love Longbeards. I think if you want to talk about what is Warhammer, that they are to me the quintessential, one of the top 3 quintessential Warhammer units. A grumbling, white beard, beer drinking dwarf rolling out to the battlefield. 17 Rangers to fill out core. Yep, they'll just be scouting out and taking something out there. 2 bolt throwers, again, non-traditional. And no runes either on them. So the engineer's going to be babysitting them. Cannon, rune of reloading, so they keep firing. No, there is a rune of forging. Apologies, Michael.
On the cannon only. Oh,
I
yeah.
almost missed it. Yeah, yep. So he does get that one reroll. Gyrocopters, a steam gun, which is the flame template one, which is classic on there. Brimstone guns, is all there. I would have gone the Brimstone gun, Michael. And what's great about this? Not a single Iron Drake. Not a single Iron Drake.
To his regret, I might add. I was speaking to him yesterday. He was like, I'm really regretting taking this gyro bomber. I definitely should have This is why
the gyro bomber. That's great.
The gyro bomber and a steam gun gyrocopter is
But
so
you can
good.
see there, like the 15 hammers, the king goes in there, a rune of confusion, rune of battle. That is effectively a war banner, rune of battle, and he's just getting a static combat res of a lot. So,
yeah.
Yep. Good on you, Mike.
God bless you, Mike. We'll get him on. We haven't had him on for a while, but it's absolute ledge. Alasdair, Empire
the Commander-in-Chief.
Commander, run us through. Michael Ocker, who also is the usual TO. Shout out to Michael for running, along with the rest of the team, incredible events. The Oldhammer Tournaments, for those who are going to come for the first time, is all you could ask for, I think, as a newbie. So he's also been given the day off. Alex, 2+ Alex, is taking up the mantle of adjudicator, judge. So Michael can have the day off there. So Michael gets to have a run at his Empire. Alasdair, what do you think?
I mean, it's Michael and I were talking about this the other night about what he thought was sort of the right approach to Grand Army Empire of Man with the character choices that you have. What he's ended up with is the engineer to provide the rerolls for his multiple war machines that he's got, and one engineer, I'm not sure whether it's all the way there, but the Grandmaster. So does have a combat character, and that's very important to point out. But it's a Grandmaster on a war horse that's going to sit with those Empire Knights. Now we've gone and talked about in length off the pod around what the Arcane Journal is going to do for Empire Knights and the differences that it's going to make for them for both being an effective choice and also I suppose for making things not so one-sided when you whiff a roll. The Grandmaster being in there with an Ogre Blade and the White Cloak means that he is, quite strong when it comes to offense, defense, single unit challenges, but he's nowhere near, a mounted monster character that you'd see from realistically any other army. This list does focus a lot around that Empire Knight block. So War Banner on it, 10 Empire Knights. He's gone for Battle Magic this time around on the Wizard Lord. I know historically he's gone for Dark Magic to give the Empire Knights Frenzy when they're going on, which has been hilarious to see when Empire Knights have gotten in there. I've personally found running Empire Knights, it's always best to put a Priest of Ulrich in there to give them multi-wounds. It expands their capability in terms of being able to deal with other things significantly more, but he doesn't have that here. What he's relying on instead is 2 great cannons, a steam tank, and is there a Hellblaster lying on the next page?
No.
Or is that it? No, that's it. Okay, so 2 cannons and a steam tank. I take back what I said. The 1 engine is probably enough. And 4 Demigryph Knights to be the sort of hammer by which you can catch people off guard. Cannons are the right choice right now for limited artillery for Empire. The great cannons being strength 10. You've got AP2, multiple wounds, D3 +1. They destroy a lot of things. I know people have complaints about cannons right now, but these cannons are very strong and very useful. He's going to be hammering you every turn, and then when you get close enough, he's going to be countercharging you with Empire Knights with that Grandmaster in it. I think it's quite strong in the way that we've seen our version of Empire of Man start to shape up. I know there are different versions in the UK that aren't quite so successful, but I think, Michael's done what will probably see him be quite successful in the field that we've seen. Empire Knights are nothing to sneeze at when there are 10 of them. The Demigryph Knights we've established are super strong. The Grandmaster adds that little bit of effectiveness to that Knight block, and the Wizard block does everything that you need it to do as a running around wizard. He's on a warhorse, not a Pegasus, I will point out. But
I played Michael in the warm-up event, and there's a few changes here that I think are really good.
Yeah.
And you did too, Alex. I think he's made some really good changes in it. I think Battle Magic's the right choice for sure, just for versatility of output. So he's not fully reliant on that Empire Knights bus getting into combat, and the Grandmaster being just a much bigger offensive piece, I think is awesome. I do agree though, the Priest I think has value when you're investing that much into a unit that you want to protect it. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. Paddy Gallagher, who is a big name on the scene, really. Number 1 ranked Australian competitive player. They have mixed between Wood Elves, Tomb Kings, and now are onto Chaos Dwarves. And this, much like Jeff's that we saw earlier, seems to be an evolution of Chaos Dwarves, what we had seen internationally. I might, though, divert this one to Alex, because you seem to have your
I played this
hat on, and you've got experience.
I seem to play them every event.
Yeah.
So Paddy's made a few changes since the warm-up event. Notably, the Blackhawk Big Boss is now there rather than the Torque, which was rolling around. So Blackhawk Big Boss on the Boar Chariot, no less, which is awesome. Because it can take a standard bearer, which a lot of people don't realize. So if you listen to the video that Alex Brown and I did, any form of static combat res on single models goes a long way. And when there's a Black Hawk on top of it, it's going to be going even further. I'm not sure what the Enchanted Shield is doing on there when there's a Talisman of Protection. I feel like Patty probably just had 5 points and she just went, I just want to make sure that it's like perfect, 1750 put on there. So this coming back to what we're talking about with Jeff. So this is a similar style list, big block of Infernal Guard, but in this case with the blunderbuss. So this is the one that does D3 shots each, that has no long range penalties, etc.
No
Again,
multi-shot penalty either.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Again, it's a combat unit with a demonology sorcerer sitting in there, and I don't think she would mind me saying that because she's going to be wrecking people either way. Because you have to take it out, and this is what got me in the game. If you don't take it out, you've lost the game, or at least you've drawn the game. It's where all her points are. So she's got the Black Orc War Boss, hard to kill, lots of offense, big block of dwarves shooting. I note that I think she was playing with elementalism for the TMP, but has decided to go demonology again. Black Orc Mob again. These small. Everyone seems to be bringing these small 7 or 8 units
With
of Black Orc Mob
frenzy. Yeah,
with
Yeah.
frenzy.
again. So it's a
With
definite
frenzy.
trend.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're nothing to sneeze at, right? Like they've got Warband, they can re-roll their charge range. Black Orcs with Furious Charge, with great weapons. I think AP3 with choppers base, then go to 4 with armor bane, etc. So they can do a lot. As I do the Iron Demon, notably, I'm not sure if she's actually got the carriage upgrade on there.
Mm.
Doesn't
That's
look like it.
maybe that's because of the FAQ
No,
thing
yeah. So she's
that
gone for Hellbound instead, which
mm.
is I know that she sometimes likes to take that way. But Iron Demon, Paddy has probably mastered the use of the Iron Demon. Took out half my army. You know, it's capable. So she's definitely gone rather than the Wyvern, the chariot based approach. Dropped the Turex from her last list on there. I think this is actually way scarier. I'd much rather play her warm up event list again than this, right? Because I don't want to go near the Black Hawk chariot at all. And by the way, Dreadquake Mortar, for those that are not in the know, removes your Swift Stride.
Is that, yeah, I heard that being spoken about. Is that if you are hit by it, you lose
Just
Swift
hit.
Stride
So you
forever?
lose Swift Stride. You lose Swift Stride. So but then you get minus movement as well.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
so you hit the Pegasus block, and they basically go down to I can't remember if it's D3 or D6, but they can basically become movement 6, let's call it, no Swift Stride,
Yeah,
which
wow.
totally hampers them. Yeah.
A lot of armies would not like that. We'll leave this one here as well, guys, because we've got about 7 left to go through. So we'll get to those ones in the next video.